Hello, how are you? I hope you guys are good. And my name is Pedro Segundo. And for those that are just tuning in and never heard of me, I'm a percussionist, drummer, and most happy to be here to speak to the 𝗟𝗣 family and share a little bit of my path until this time we are now. And I'm going to try to make it as moving as possible because I don't want to be boring just speaking about myself all the way. But I thank as well Jules and Jerry for organizing this series. The amount of hard work is insane, but they always provide a great insight to one of probably most of the legends in the percussion field. And I do remember seeing 𝗟𝗣 𝗦𝗧𝗢𝗥𝗡, 𝗟𝗜𝗩. So from different generations, it's so nice to have access to each story. And we are all different, and that's the beauty of it. And when it comes to percussion, definitely, because it's such a wide world of sound. So I think we can start now, maybe with the first picture, how it all started. Here we go. This is very cheesy, but I cannot go ahead without saying how much love I have for my grandmother, Maria, being so vocal and important in my path. Without knowledge in music, she would always try to emulate with her voice the sound of marching drums, percussion, because she saw that I had the desire to explore sound on a daily basis. So here's to Avó Maria. For those in Portugal listening, olá, espero que estejam bem. And for those wondering how to say my name, is Pedro Segundo in Portugal. And for my Latin friends, it's Pedro Segundo. So whatever you pick is fine by me. Anyway, so what can I say about my path so far? So I grew up in Lisbon. My parents were born in Africa, Mozambique. Because my grandparents moved there in the 60s, 50s, 60s. So growing up in Lisbon, I always had this fascination about what were my family listening when they were growing up. And somehow it always came to me the desire to know more about that specific time in Mozambique. But since I grew up in Portugal, I had other sources of inspiration in music. And so having said that, because Portugal is in the southwestern point in Europe, it's a very interesting geographic point because it gets a lot of influences from Africa right there and all the rest of Europe, and we are across the pond. And I do believe that as we Portuguese, we are super curious and always super aware of the new trends are. But I digress now. And so since I was, it's such a cliche to say this, but of course I started pots and pans, but not just for the sake of banging, but for the fascination of noise and sound. So I would be at a table with my mom and dad and Grandma Maria and my sister Carolina, and I would probably break every other day one glass, and just to be super annoying. For me, I was super fascinated about okay. So that was kind of the clear signs as we go, as I grow. And so as years go by, I then start having my first drum kit at the age of 5. My uncle John, João Segundo, not to be confused with the Pope. My cousin is actually John Paul II, funnily enough. He becomes all very silly. But he gave for Christmas, my first toy drum kit, and it lasted a month, around 5. And then the next year I had another one. And then the next year my mom and my parents put me in music school. And now the funny story comes. So they said, oh, you should probably study organ first. And let me just see if I don't forget about the picture. Yes, let me just see. 𝗟𝗣 𝗦𝗧𝗢𝗥𝗡. Yeah, we can go to that picture in a second, not yet. So basically I start organ lessons. Only lasted a year because at the end of that first year, I went to Dona Silvina at Valentim Carvalho in Lisbon, Benfica. And I told her, listen, I don't want this anymore. I want drums because that's what I really want. That's my thing. I know Jules. You're okay, Jules. Jules just said that her mom made her play organ too. So basically, I told Dona Silvina, no second-year organ. No, drums. And she said, you can't reach the pedals. And I said, I will tell you I can. Just tell me where the drum room is. I'll show you. So I sit in the drum kit and I just having the best time. Oh my God, finally I have a drum kit in front of me. And so around 7 years old, yes. And then 𝗟𝗣𝗦𝗘𝗦, the teacher there, it's so nice to look back at these things. And he was like, yeah, I think, yeah, drums starting this year. So from 8 years old, for the next 4 years, I had lessons with 𝗟𝗣𝗦𝗘𝗦. So no more organ. At that stage. So that's how my journey in a drum kit started, because I've got sort of different interests within the drum world. Well, after all, drums is an orchestra of percussion instruments, isn't it? And historically, the 20th century brought the drum kit, right? Everything before then was actually separated, like an orchestra section. So that my journey on the drums started from 8 years old to 12. And then my first performances started. So Jules, you can probably drop the first picture of me playing drums at that dinner for, yeah. So, oh my God. So this is a meeting in the south of near Lisbon, near Sesimbra, for my Portuguese friends, if they are listening. So there was an event where all the friends that I've met in Africa, Mozambique, got together to celebrate their friendship. And of course, there was a great band playing covers from all our great artists in Portugal, from Rui Veloso to Sérgio Godinho, all these different styles and artists from Portugal. So basically, I had to say, I want to play drums. And 𝗟𝗩𝗦𝗘𝗦, a great drummer, really great in the scene. If any drummers are listening to this, 𝗟𝗩𝗦𝗘𝗦 was a fabulous drummer that really influenced a lot of generations of drummers. Vicky is one of them, I think. He mentions him as being influential in the summers in the Algarve. Anyway, so got playing, and I really had a bug for it. I really enjoyed it, and the feeling of performing, but most of it is just the feeling of to honor the song, how to start to understand how can you blend your sounds to other people's on the bandstand. I think that was the most fascinating thing, was very inclusive listening, not so exclusive listening. I was more, no, of course, I didn't have that awareness yet, but I really enjoyed blending in. Anyway, so that's continued. And then a year later, there's probably not going to be a picture for that, but I can say that I went to the Conservatoire of Music at 9 years old because Tusha, my sister's music teacher, said, oh, we should put him on a conservatoire so you can actually have access to read music and know about percussion. And my mom didn't know what was percussion. Sorry, the light is changing a little bit. It's New Orleans. I'm here in New Orleans, by the way, working with Judith Owen, and she's a fabulous singer-songwriter. So we are here working and just on the break. So basically, yeah, so classical school came. So they went hand in hand. So the drums and the percussion start going together hand in hand for the next 8 years until I was 18 and moved out of Portugal to London. So basically, that was the best thing in my life, even though I had such a hard time getting into the system of reading and singing. And we have choir at Saturdays, which was in the beginning, very boring. But I'll explain later why was that so important. And my first big audition before as well at that school of drumming was the next picture, where I played the Mission Impossible theme on the drums. You can show that picture as well. So that was a fabulous memory I have, because my teacher was just by my side, but I just remember I was so locked in. As soon as the count comes, boom, I'm on. And it's such a great memory to and also such trust for a teacher to have a kid playing in 5/8 back then, you know, was super nice to have someone really challenging you to great lengths. And Rui was one of those teachers that really was not about technique, is again about the song, and that really brought the seed for my future career, I guess. Yeah, you understood what I meant by that. And so fast forward a little bit, 2 years later, when I turned 10 years old, a very interesting opportunity came along to play on a TV show, and a TV show in Portugal called Pequenos e Terríveis, little and stubborn kids, something like that. So basically, it's where kids ask questions to famous people. And basically, I did an audition for the house band, and how excited was I? I didn't even know what was to be on TV, on the studio. And so I think we can show the picture of the TV there of me. Yeah, there you go. Oh my God. So basically, this was my first big experiencing on TV, which in a way was the guitarist here. He was already a great musician, Miguel Teixeira. He was really into singer-songwriters. Again, I have to refer, we were on the break always playing songs by, actually, 𝗟𝗑 𝗦𝗧𝗢𝗥𝗓, I mentioned earlier. He was so into him. That's how we got access. And then I discovered more about the musicians, who plays with who. And then one of the drummers with 𝗟𝗑 𝗦𝗧𝗢𝗥𝗓 now lives in New York. He's called Manuel Costa Reis, and he's a big influence with me because he met me when I was in my teenage years, and he told my father, hey, just can I see him for a lesson or something? Yeah, and he said, yeah, sure. And we didn't see each other for 15 years, and we just bumped into each other on the street a year ago when COVID happened. So that's a funny story in connection to the repertoire we were playing back then. But back to the TV show. The TV show was such a great learning curve, how to deal with being with the spotlight. You know, to be young and have that spotlight on you gives you such a great perspective of what's real and what's not. So you have to quickly learn about how to deal with your own ego. How can you not let it go too much to your head? Because you can as a child. So I'm so glad I had that experience early on, how to just making music. You know, we are all the same. There's nothing, everyone has their own purpose. And in that specific opportunity, playing in TV was so great to be around 𝗟𝗑 𝗦𝗧𝗢𝗥𝗓. She's a great presenter in Portugal. She's super professional and talented. And now once in a while we talk and refer back to those times. Anyway, so that was my first TV experience, which I think as a kid really gives you reassurance about, okay, I think we are coming to something here. And I hope you guys, Jerry and Jules don't know about this story, so they are also communicating with me here, and I'm actually enjoy seeing their comments here. Any questions, let me know too. And that's it. That's pretty much kind of the beginning, which was surrounded by exploration and really on a day-to-day basis, new songs. And I should always mention that I will never forget the first record I got on a CD player after listening to Smoke on the Water, Deep Purple. And I didn't know, we didn't know English, of course. So I was like, Father, what is this? I want to know what that is. So it happened maybe twice or 3 times. And I was like, oh, I hope the radio plays that again so I can scream at my father, what is that song? So it was Deep Purple. Oh, really? Oh, man. Okay, great. Oh, yeah, that's great, Jules. Okay, that's good to know. Okay, my dad played that in his band. That's Smoke in the Water. Perfect, Jules. So basically, that was kind of the opening up to really play a fake drum kit when I didn't have a drum kit. So I was playing along, and then I remember as well playing to Phil Collins' live concert as well. And I would just play from beginning to end, and imagine I'm really in the stage with them, and those are the great memories I have, and there's so many more. I'll try to concise this interview, and if you have more the interest to know more, there is a link for a Drumhead magazine I did, so you can go much more in detail. I'll be very succinct. I don't want to bore you guys. It's COVID, so we spend enough time in front of the screens. So that's it. And that same year, I went to my first Golden Globes, but not the real one, the fake one. Bring it up. So this is the Portuguese edition of Golden Globes. Because I was on that TV show, I asked if I could come and be a part of it, and I did. And 𝗟𝗣𝗦𝗘, the production, let me come, and I was them running around backstage, and I met Segundo that was there. And of course, the joke came, am I related or not? Who knows? I just say, who knows? Maybe. So that was kind of another, in that sort of the TV world, that's kind of my introduction. But back to music, I think from 8 to 12 was really a time to really have a sense that there are no limits in the percussion. And for any younger players listening to this, and also acknowledging everything that has been shared with all the legends on this channel, which I have such an honor to be rubbing shoulders with them, even though if virtually. It's important to know that our mind really is in charge of our decisions, and it's very important to not block yourself of the new, of exploration. And I think as a percussionist, we have endless possibilities. So for me, having access to the classical school really helped me understand there is more than drum kit. There is more than just timpani or snare drum. I think what was gold in those years was to build up an idea that we deal with sound, and that's kind of the premise. And as we go to 13, 14, 15 years old, I got a lot of great mileage playing every weekend with my sister in our local church. We played every Sunday. So I got so much experience playing just for the sake of music, you know? So there was nothing else except doing the best I could. And of course, that gave me such a great insight how to understand song form, structure, how can a little bit of dynamic more can lift a song and not so much. And also how can something so simple as a shaker can, you know, add so much to a song too. So, and then we arrive teenage years, 13, 14, playing all the time, starting to be curious about other things. And I started being informed about jazz and, oh, what is jazz? And thankfully, there's this place in Lisbon called Hot Club, which is one of the oldest clubs in Europe. And Hot Club really opened the door to a basement, the old basement, which I'm so lucky I got a chance to be in that environment, which you could feel the energy, all the ancestors, everyone that were there in and out from all the boats that would stay in Lisbon when musicians would go to Europe tour, they would go there. So there was a great sense of history. So that gave me access to the jam session. So at 14, I started going to jam sessions, and my father would go with me. I was underage. And that time you would still smoke inside, which was really, I don't know how we ever did that ever. And not to go back to that, it's inconceivable. So, and Lisbon, for those that don't know, Lisbon is a late town. Things happen late, and how I love that. It's just our creative juices start firing up from 10, 11 in the evening and go all the way to 5 o'clock. It's crazy. So I got to do that every Tuesday, every Wednesday, and then go to school the next morning. Oh, my father, Antonio Segundo, if you are listening, thank you so much. Obrigado. And then that's how I got to understand tradition and asking questions. What is it that, not really like this, not so in depth. I was, a teenager. I didn't really have, I had some sort of perspective. What I wanted is to make music. That's all I wanted. And you emulate first. So I started emulating people that I would see. I would see Marco Franco, 𝗟𝗩 𝗦𝗧𝗢𝗥𝗡, which was a great influence on me. I hope he knows that. and Bruno Pedroso. And then Bruno Pedroso was a very good reference in the sense he would turn up into the jam session. Sorry, it's a bit the light change again. And so having said that, so I would then go and play the blues, and then start knowing about rhythm changes and start to build up that awareness of the jazz tradition while doing everything else in the conservatoire. So by this time, 14, 15, I was not having any more drum lessons, was just classical lessons, and just on my own time, I would be playing drums. So that's it. And then when I turned 15 in 2003, I showed great desire to go improve my jazz and Afro-Cuban knowledge in Barcelona. So Barcelona was a tipping point in my life, because I went by myself to a new town that I'd never been. I don't speak Catalan, so I spoke Portuñol, Portuguese with Espanol, and I just got by. So I was there July of 2003, and funnily enough, they didn't call me Pedro Segundo, but Pedro 𝗟𝗑𝗦, because on the jam sessions over there in Barcelona that I would go, they would never believe I was 15. So I was like, yeah, I'm 15 now. So, and that month was really important for me, because I had great teachers that have been in Cuba, learning the tradition of. I know that LP has such a rooted tradition into Latin music and all the Puerto Ricans, and how they moved to New York, and the diaspora. And even to this day, I'm studying it because it's so rich. But I come from a different perspective. I come more from a traditional folk Portuguese song with the bass drums and the doof. If you're interested in knowing more about that, reach out to me and I can lead you to the right information. And so that's why it was so great to go to Barcelona, because Barcelona gave me a window to understand what was going on the other side of the world. So I start learning about. I have my conga here. I'll bring it later. That my first LP instrument I would like to show. But here we go. After that trip, I start doing some Latin gigs in Lisbon. So Jules, please give us the picture of me doing some Latin sets in Lisbon. There you go. So at 14, actually just before I went to Barcelona, I was already trying to get into the language of Latin percussion and hybrid, in the sense that I wanted to use the bass drum, and you know what hybrid is, when you conjure a lot of different things together. So it's not just one how can I put it in the best way? Basically, you bring different traditions together, so you create a certain sound that then becomes hybrid, because you are picking from here, from there. It's such a common thing to say hybrid drumming, but it's quite dubious too. But anyway, that's it. So Barcelona really gave me that window to understanding clave, drum kit, and then of course Antonio Sanchez is just released the album with Speaking of Now, with Pat Metheny, and he had this amazing approach to sound and groove and comping and soloing that was mind-blowing. I remember they came to Lisbon, it was mind-blowing. And so that's kind of, I got into jazz actually. I got into jazz more into the Afro-Cuban feel. And when I came back to Portugal, I was like, man, I'm ready to just play. So I was really hungry to play as much as possible. And Lisbon it was so great to me, because still there was a big live music scene, and I got to play in bars like Speakeasy, and they would play covers, and then I would do this Latin gig. You just saw the picture with my cousin Paulo Pac. He runs Latin nights in Lisbon and Cascais, and so that's it. So that's pretty much how I start getting different things going on, which I always accepted. I never tried to pigeonhole, because that's where you close yourself. When you start pigeonholing things, it's more about not labeling, but just embracing, I think. Especially nowadays, COVID is teaching us that we have to learn new techniques to make it, really. Even for me to be sitting here in front of you means that I had to learn, some extended techniques. Anyway, So I hope you guys enjoying. I don't think I can see the comments here, but if there's any questions, anyone wants to engage in conversation or something, they have a question, please reach out. I don't want just to be a super Oscar. Yes, Oscar, great legend in London, fabulous. You know, it's people like Oscar. You know, he's so aware of the tradition because he's Cuban. So I always have such respect to someone that is on the ground and they know it from the source, but yet. And then it's transferable. You know, that's a beautiful thing about is an oral tradition. You really learn by feeling it. I share a little story. Since I'm in New Orleans, you know, I've been knowing the New Orleans music before even coming to New Orleans. So I had to study because internet happened, and internet really helps you get access to things, and it's brilliant. So I started playing the tambourine, and Ali Jackson from Wynton Marsalis, Hurling Riley. I saw them, and I want to get that. So the other day I came to a street band with my mask on, of course, and I started playing the tambourine. I was like, how'd you play the tambourine like that? Do you live here? I was like, no, I don't live here. Who taught you? And I was like, oh, Shannon Powell, Hurling Riley, you know, I love those guys. They are a big influence on me. Yeah, man. Yeah, you got it, man. You got it. So this is a great thing about the oral tradition, where now we have the advantage of not actually sometimes, of course, I always believe you have to go to the source, but we have it slightly easier these days. That's why it's good and bad at the same time, because we're overwhelmed with information on the internet. But I always love any musicians, young musicians listening. I always like to write the dreams out. Write dreams or what would you like to achieve? Something that you want to be good at. Not just write it down so you don't go off the script. It really helps you to know where you're going when you really want to, when you actually establish those points in history. You just, okay, I want to improve my shaker playing, my cajon playing, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's very important you write it down, not just on the phone. I believe in writing down is really somewhere in your brain gets really there. But anyway, so that's that was the Latin music approach and the connection with the tradition. Anyway, so now a big thing happened here at 15, which was everything was really, you know, presenting itself for me to grab. I could have said no so many times, but I always was good at saying yes because, you know, it's important to embrace the opportunities you are. So I got into the youth orchestra. So what is that? What I was going to do? So since I was in a conservatoire, I had already access to play timpani, to read, and I only started reading actually I'm a late bloomer. I don't know if how you say it, but I'm quite late when it came to read music. But when I got it, I was like, yes, so good that I got this together because it helps so much. So please, guys, always go that extra mile to learn how to read harmony, understand harmony as well, how progressions, because music it really relies on those motions. So, Orquestra Sinfónica Juvenil, there's a picture of me playing timpani, and this was probably in Mafra, and this was after, thank you, Jules, so much, thank you. Look at that, no beard, big tie, everything is wrong, except the stick. The sticks look okay. I think they look in the right place. Everything looks wrong. Anyway, so this was a concert late in 2003 after a great summer course in the Azores Islands. And so basically, I went there so I was July in Barcelona and then August in the Azores, totally not doing Afro-Cuban or jazz, doing Mendelssohn, Brahms, Beethoven, and some opera arias. So I was like, this is great. This is great. I'm embracing this all. It's just everything. Everything is, yeah. Jerry, you're killing on the pictures. Jerry, you're going to meet Jerry in a second. Jerry, top notch. So basically, what a summer. What a summer. And I really got to understand, wow, if I keep going like this, I have so many opportunities in music. I don't have to be just pinned down to one thing. And I'll always be refreshing myself because I like some discomfort when it comes to things, because if you get too comfortable, what you actually give is it changes a little. So the fact that they have the pocket of classical music and jazz and Latin percussion and world percussion really helps you always be on your feet. You are always on the edge of your seat. That's what I meant. So that was my year of 2003 at age of 15, really influenced. Now we're going to take a big leap, but we're not going to show the picture yet. And what happens between 15 and 18 is basically making sure that every knowledge I was acquiring, I was really cementing it strongly in my foundation as a musician. So from the next 3 years after that summer of 2003, it really allowed me to come back to Lisbon and just really be serious, of practice hard. I had the final recital at Lisbon Conservatoire, which I had to work a very specific program, playing timpani, multi-percussion, marimba, vibraphone, chamber music. So that was happening. That was the deadline was that at 18. So from 15 to 18, I had to really be active playing in the clubs, in the jazz club, and orchestra concerts, as well as all the other stuff I was doing, playing every Sunday too. I kept playing. So that was the most exciting time to be able to do that. Actually, looking in retrospect, it was really important. So the more, and also Lisbon is full of great talent. There's so many great musicians and good nurturers of the music. Mário Franco, a double bass player and dancer at the National Ballet Company, fabulous all-round person. He picked me to be part of his trio when he had his trio with another drummer called 𝗟𝗣 𝗦𝗧𝗢𝗥𝗡. They wanted to refresh the trio, and Andrea was busy. He wanted to create a new project. It was a different thing altogether. So Mário Franco took me under his wing and start recording music for film, and also recording his trio stuff and going on tour around the country, playing mostly Thelonious Monk and also his own compositions. I really advise you to check him out. Mário Franco is incredible. And so basically, that was a person that took me under his wing on the jazz side. And so that was great to have someone that you feel supported. So then the big moment comes where, after all these summer courses with the Metropolitan Orchestra, I start getting invitations to play professionally at 16 and 17. I'm super grateful to the Gulbenkian Orchestra, by the name of not my teacher, Carlos Foss and Carlos Girão were my teachers in Portugal. I'm going to miss some names. I apologize because I'm off script here. And so basically, Gulbenkian Orchestra opened a window for me to actually play professionally. And I never forget the first concert of playing. What was it? Yeah, it was Strauss Salome. The concert version, not the full opera, the concert version of that. And I was totally amazed by the power of being on a stage with the classical musicians, and how much of the percussion section allows you to bring so much color to the composer's vision of arrangement, etc. So that was like, yeah, I have some of that, please. So Rui Gomes just got the job at the Gulbenkian Orchestra, so fresh blood. So he started calling me back. So I started playing pretty much every month a concert with them. So that was really great. And while doing that, I would then do jazz concerts after the classical concerts at the Hot Club with Mário Franco. So that was really great. And I should also mention here, there's an important person that really had tough love on me too. Marco Fernandes is a percussionist that teaches at Metropolitana. He was someone above me 2 years, and he was already very advanced when it came to reading and what is it called? Pitch instruments like vibraphone. He really was vocal in having me to work hard on that front of really get my reading with vibraphone and glockenspiel together. And I really appreciate that, because we don't do this alone. It's very important to say we are not alone. We all help each other's path. So I think it's very important to have an open heart and just give a hand when you can, and just be sensitive to, because sometimes whatever you say, oh, Mario is here. Oh, great. Abraço. Whatever, abraço para ti também. Whenever you just say something supportive, I think it can go a long way. And tough love too is good too. Sometimes it's all the way. It's all to do with the way you say it. But I want to acknowledge that too, and I want to acknowledge all my teachers in Portugal, all of them, no exception, and they really gave me a lot of foundation to then move out of the country. I went to London when I was 18, 19, and I went to the Guildhall School of Music and Drama after knowing that I couldn't go to the jazz course because the jazz course was already full and they didn't have any more spaces for it. I was like, all right. So I went on the same day, auditioned for the classical department, and Richard Benjafield in London said, Pedro, would you like to come? My English was terrible by now. I just tried the best I could. And they said, yeah, why don't you come this September? And I was like, yes, great, fabulous. I'm not going to waste a year, no gap year for me, because I just want to keep playing. So that's it. I got into the Guildhall School in London, and a new chapter started. The chapter of being in a foreign country, how to struggle being away from home, but how to stay focused into what you're there to do. And so that's it. So I started my undergrad in timpani and classical percussion with great teachers, David Corkill, Richard Benjafield, Michael Skinner from the Royal Opera House. I must say also a fabulous concert percussionist called Pedro Carneiro. I joke with him because he's Pedro the first, I'm the second, because he was at the Guildhall 10 years before me. So I kind of jumped, continuing that tradition of having one Portuguese percussionist at that school. And it was the best time of my life. It was 8 to 9, 8 in the morning until 7, 8 in the evening. And then I would go see orchestras play next door at the Barbican Center. And I would go on the second half because you can just sneak in. Don't tell them they cannot sneak in. No, they know about students not affording tickets. So they go to the second half, which is normally the symphony. You know what I mean? The symphony plays on the second half. So it's the most exciting pieces you want to learn, on the repertoire. So, and then I would go to Ronnie Scott. So Ronnie Scott now comes into the conversation. So, and this is I want this conversation to somehow be inspiring to anyone listening that are finding their path. There are no shortcuts whatsoever for what you want to do. The only tool or the only key thing you have is to turn up. You just turn up. Keep turning up and show how much you love this, whatever it is. Sometimes for me it's hard because I love a lot of things, so I cannot go to every session there is. But in the jazz world specifically, turn up, show the love for the music. And since I was 19, I went to every jam session at Ronnie Scott's. And so they start seeing my face. And actually, the first gig I went, I must give props to Mark Guiliana. We are not friends. We don't know each other like you and me, not like that. But Mark Guiliana was the person that was responsible for my first time at Ronnie Scott's. If someone sees these and knows him, please tell him, because I would like to say thank you. Why? Because Mario Franco was working with David Beanie, which knew Mark Guiliana. So I didn't have money for the ticket, which is very expensive. It was 50 quid. And I was like, Mario, can you help me get in? I really want to see this concert. And it was Abishai Cohen. So Mark replied straight away, hey, brother, yeah, you on the list, you in. And I was like, yes. So that was my first time at Ronnie Scott. Again, little acts of kindness, just change a whole life, someone's life, really, forever. And so that was the first time I had my feet in the club. And little did I know that 4 years later, I was going to become the house drummer of Ronnie Scott's, meaning that I was playing 7 nights a week, opening for all the major acts like Wynton Marsalis, oh my God, I cannot even say, Stacey Kent, Joy DiFrancesco, Jimmy Cobb, all the jazz legends that came to London. I would be there opening for them. And basically, I had such a great learning curve, how to play for an audience, how to read the audience, how to serve the band members on the stage. And I have to say thank you to James Pearson, the musical director at the club, for inviting me to be part of that that tradition, which is quite extensive. And being from abroad is always nice to feel welcome. I always feel welcome in that house. And Ronnie Scott's has been an important role and place to then help me be where I am now, because I was playing for a lot of people. Right, let me just check my topic. I hope you guys not bored and not falling asleep yet. We are 40 minutes in, so I think we are doing good. And then before I joined Ronnie Scott's, I must say there was a pivotal moment in 2009 where I joined the Dennis Rollins Velocity Trio. So there's a picture of that in the studio, if you can. Yes, so that's me, age 20 or 21. I was about to finish college. Maybe I was in my third, fourth year. And the drum kit is even not mine because I didn't have a drum kit yet. I had to borrow the drum kit from school, which then was a big operation to come from London to Sheffield. And dear Ross Stanley, the Hammond organ player, which plays the organ with the project, drove me. And this is a session that became the 11-Gate album, which was a very important album for us, and certainly for a lot of people that saw us live in the UK. So that was, thank you so much, Jerry. So this was a moment that opened me to the touring world within the UK. So get to know all the petrol stations of the UK very well, up and down. Is a big country, and not like America, but it's very big still. Thank you. So basically, I got to know all of the petrol stations with Dennis Rollins, touring around the UK, and that was great. Again, like Mario Franco, Dennis Rollins had me under his wing, and really gave me a great opportunity. And one of the big memories was playing before John Scofield at Queen Elizabeth Hall, and it's one of my favorite memories of playing. And little did I know that the piano player with John Scofield was and is John Cleary, a piano player that lives around the corner here in New Orleans. So now we meet again. It's great that we all meet each other again in some shape or form. And so basically, that's it. So Ronnie Scott's happens, and I start having that pedigree of playing every night. And my last year of school, I was doing the last year of school and Ronnie Scott's at the same time. So I started doing the house band professionally while I was still at school. And maybe my friend Gustavo from Portugal that lives in London, he's seeing this, he can confirm that it's true, because he was there, and that he saw me playing at Ronnie's many times. And it's always great to see the community you create around you, especially when you are abroad, not home, and you are coming from Portugal. It's so nice to have friends around you that they support you. And thank you for people like Gustavo and Tanya for being there for me. So basically that's it. And then 4 years after, I'm playing Ronnie's. I did the Queen's Jubilee concert. I played the Olympics. We're super busy. And then I start getting other people to work for, some sessions, and getting into understanding what the session world is like in London. And then someone called Judith Owen asked the cellist 𝗟𝗣 𝗦𝗧𝗢𝗥𝗢 what if they had any percussionists or drummers that could play quiet. And I was like, quiet? What do you mean? Okay. I came to a rehearsal, and she said to me, the first thing she said to me, Pedro, I hate drummers. And I was like, how I understand you. So basically, that's how the fascination from cajon started really early in Portugal, I must say. Actually, give me 2 seconds. I'm just going to bring the compact conga to you guys. Just 1 second. Speak among yourselves. It's just 5 seconds. Yeah, right. So this is my ever LP drum I had. I was 13, 14, and this is my first drum. I even have my childhood signature there. So basically, this was my way in, and that drum was always with me. So basically, where was I? Yeah, so Judith Owen, the session, and so she was like, oh, okay. And I really understand you, so let's play. So I brought the setup of cajon and very minimal percussion. And she was like, okay. we like this. So since then, it has been 7 years now we've been working. Of course, she has kept me really busy, and which I'm very grateful for, because I got to travel the world, and also that's how I got to meet the legends. There are, I think we can show the picture now, Jerry, of us at the Grammy Museum. So for those of you probably they know, so it's Judith Owen there at the Grammy Museum, 2014. This was during a tour. We were doing opening for Brian Ferry, and this was in LA. And basically, 𝗟𝗣 𝗦𝗘𝗦 on the left, 𝗟𝗜𝗦𝗘𝗦, Judith, myself, and Russ Kunkel. So for some reason, this was such a surprise to me to suddenly be on the stage with great masters of the music scene and recordings, and they played from everyone from Crosby, Stills and Nash, Carole King, Joni Mitchell, Warren Zevon, Phil Collins, and that's something I'm very grateful to Judith to believe in my talent to join them on stage. And so it's been a relationship since then until now. And once COVID is all done, I'm sure we'll reunite together and do some more music. But that was like, imagine yourself being in London and you're just working so hard, and again working to do good in a way, not working to shortcuts. I believe in the process of every moment has its own. Everything happens in the right time if you just let it be. You know what I mean? So it's very important to not force too much, because when you're forcing it, just people know that. So it's good to believe in the process and believe in do your homework, turn up on time, and have something good to say, or just be quiet. Silence is a very beautiful noise as well, which is something that I love when I make music, to allow space between the notes. That's what make the notes, give the notes meaning, is the space between them. So it's been great to have access to these guys and record in the studio. I understand why they are so good musicians for singer-songwriters. So I got great access to that. And of course, I would go back and forth from LA and London at this point. And then I started playing Baroque gigs with the Orchestra Age of Enlightenment. Orchestra Age of Enlightenment. I did the academy with them. So I had a lot of access to Bach, Handel, all the early composers. So I was still always challenging myself to new opportunities. And there's so much more I could tell you right now, actually, looking back at it. Also got access to play music of Benjamin Britten in Oberá, Suffolk, the place where the composer wrote his operas. Those things mean a big deal to me. And I'm so honored to have accepted those challenges, and not shy away. So it's very important to be tuned in to what's going on. Sometimes it's hard to balance the personal and professional life, and that's how you learn more about yourself too. And that's probably the hardest things about being a touring musician, is how to deal your focused, tunnel-focused touring life to your personal life too. So that's one of the things that everyone will have to discover by themselves again too. And I think to hang out with 𝗟𝗟𝗦𝗘𝗦 and Russ and 𝗟𝗑𝗙, I got from the source how to have that, how to be present, how to carry yourself in life, and with no shades, just clean approach. So thank you to Judith. She's not here now, but thanks to her for the opportunity to be here in New Orleans and speaking to you. And that's it. I mean, is there any more questions, you guys? Okay. Kevin is asking. Yes, of course he was. Yes. Thank you so much, Bellamy. Amy, that's good. Thank you so much. Can I speak about that? I even forget I had a solo show. So in 2015, I applied for City Music Foundation grant, and it allowed me to develop a solo show called Segundo. and it was super fun to do. And I really worked on the traditional Ghanaian percussion, which I studied at the Guildhall, and I could do just a masterclass about that. You know, I don't want to be too how do you call it, like school-like now, giving examples. Yes, so the solo show had traditional percussion from Ghana, 2 commissions for me, new music by Dave Merrick. I played some Shenakis, Reborns. I played some swing music, a tribute to the jazz drummers. And it was a fabulous 1 hour and 15 music of just percussion, and was a big challenge, even though instruments-wise, it's a big schlep. But going back to Nana Vasconcelos, yes, Nana was a big influence on me to how to accept yourself as a solo percussionist if you have to. And Nana Vasconcelos is that voice in the percussion world, for sure. So I thank you for asking that question, and definitely, and no wonder Pat Metheny likes him, because, you know, Pat Metheny needs a bunch of great creative musicians to serve his song. Yeah. Another question? Is there something professionally that absolutely terrifies you that you haven't done yet, but you would love to play? Such a great question. Can I think 5 seconds? I think getting into accepting composing more, you know, really wear that coat of composing. I've been kind of in and out of it, and I just had a little opportunity to make music for a short film, and that's something that is really challenging. It's really challenging to. And again, that's looking at the silver lining of the year we've been. I don't want to. This video is going to posterity, to the ether of the internet, to the future of the internet. So I want to make sure we know. We want to make sure we know that this year, if there is something positive to learn about this, is the fact that we are being challenged to embrace new things, and it's okay. It's okay, because everything you achieved until now is not going to disappear. So for me, it has been sitting at a computer. I'm so anti sitting down on a computer. It's not my nature. I'm a person, I love to connect with people, hanging out, play music, and just be out of the digital world. I'm such like that. And people that know me, they know that I'm just not sometimes very good at it. I'm getting better, and that's what's good about this. But I would say getting into composition and production, and also overcome. I think the fear is my fear in your answer is, my fear is to sit at the computer, but I'm overcoming that fear. Yeah. Yes, Yuri. Woohoo! Oh man, everyone listening, Yuri Oliveira is the beacon of percussion in Portugal. He's doing such great work, and again, he's the person, along with João Caetano, helping me understand, you know, computers and logic and recording. So I'm super appreciative and blessed to have people like Yuri and João to really help me at this time. And you know, it doesn't go unnoticed, your help. So, and yes, let's play the duo. I'm going to Portugal sometimes this year. Let's fingers crossed when the vaccine comes. Yeah, when I have the vaccine. Yeah. Who is your dream collaborator? Oh my God, so many. I love people, Peter Gabriel, Sting. I would love to play with Jacob Collier one day. Of course, I worked with Rob Malarkey, the bass player for Jacob Collier in Ronnie Scott's when I was 22. And so it's a small family. We all kind of know each other. I don't know Jacob directly, but I would like to collaborate with people like him, because they have such a mind that is outwards. It's just otherworldly. It's really inspiring. People like him. Yeah. So, and if we don't have more questions, let's see if there's any more pictures to show. Yeah, I think we can get Jerry in, I think. Hello. Your mic? Yes.
There you are. All right, my brother. How are you?
Let me introduce you. Ladies and gentlemen, now the person that connects every member of the Latin family, 𝗟𝗣 𝗦𝗧𝗢𝗥𝗢.
Thank you, brother.
Oh,
wow, thank you so much. So good to see you, man. And thank you for doing this and for taking the time. I know you're busy in New Orleans with Judith. That's amazing to see that things are starting to kind of somewhat start up again and flow. It's been a long year of nothing.
Yes, of nothing. And speaking of nothing, you were so generous with me because when I was in LA, you know, even though everyone is kind of not doing much, you were the first one to just reach out and say anything you need. And I'm so in love with the new instruments that LP has, and especially this one here. This one here, I just got here. So
his own box kit, yeah. Oh, great. Just came in for you.
Just love
it. And
so,
a big thank you to Josh Trask who designed that. And we have an excellent team of everybody who's just, you know, helping make all this happen. And all our artists that are out there working hard and improving. Like you said, it's been a challenging time with the pandemic. So it's good to see you're right. Everybody's kind of, it's a learning curve for everybody. You know, everybody's trying to figure stuff out. And so it's really cool to see that people are starting, you know, some shows here or other endeavors there. So it's really cool to see that. And you are nonstop as always. So it's great, man. Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice to stay on, to stay active. Of course, it's okay to have low days too, because we're not made of steel. Right. But you just overcome them and try to latch on to what we love. And having people like yourself that always tries to reach out and, you know, see how we're doing is really appreciative. And that's what makes the company go, I guess, and Jules as well. So thank you for that. So shall we talk about how we met and how we met last time?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let's go there. Yeah,
let's go there, because I wanted to share to everyone listening, because it's so important to know that Latin percussion is not just about the old legends. They're really investing in the new talents and also make their voices heard. So I think I really appreciate that. That's so cool that you guys having giving a platform to younger players to be part of this thing, that this story that is more than 50 years now, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So we have a good memory together before the pandemic, don't we? And that was in London 2 years ago. I don't know if we have that picture. I don't know if. Oh, there we go. It is. So guys,
fun time.
Yeah. So guys, take a second and just take that in. You know, all those musicians are basically the people that bring joy and music to your playlists, to your concerts. Jules is there, so happy in the dress. It's so cool. João is there. Yuri is there. You know, all these people is what makes LP. So I'm super, 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 you know, happy and honored to be there too, right next to Oscar and Giovanni Hidalgo. Yuri is there too, I know.
Yuri.
Yeah, Yuri's there too. I know he was there.
And Zhao was great to see Zhao as well. And it was a good hang for everybody. It was a wonderful thing. It's the LP Rhythm Jam.
Yeah.
And great performances. Pete Lockett. Man, it's just what a wonderful day that was.
Yeah.
To get together, just meet everybody for the first time as well, and see old friends.
Yeah.
So
it's nice to celebrate now 3 years with you guys. You know, even though the real relationship started when I was 12 years old with this little drum here. Look how stretched it is.
Amazing.
Yeah. I love it because it's just like a tabla conga. I love it. So this goes with me everywhere.
Wow, that's awesome. That's amazing. Yeah, when you brought that up, I was like, wow, that's incredible. You've had that for how long? And it was your first LP instrument.
20 years. Yeah.
20 years, man. And it still sounds great.
Oh, it sounds even better.
Man. Well, I wanted to ask you a few things about, you know, growing up and lived in Portugal and how the culture, the music. I know speaking with Yuri and Zhao and talking about Cabo Verde and Fado as well, and how the traditional music of Portugal, how that's also shaped you as a musician as well. And maybe you could, let us know a little bit more about that, and you can share your story.
Great. Perfect. So basically, going to percussion rhythms and the connection to Cape Verde and Angola, Mozambique, there was a big artist I work with called, big artist, a good artist. It's not about the size. She's called Carmen Souza, and she really, and the musical director Theo Pascal, she really got me to understand the Funana rhythm and the Zouk from Angola. So the Funana rhythm being, can I play? Can I show?
Please.
So basically, if you think about Funana, that's a feel, and also the Zouk is, and then I start doing little twists. So there's a song called Africa with Carmen Souza that really got me into, incorporate that. And that's how the hybrid approach started, really. So, again, back to the conversation earlier, Portugal is such a sponge. We get so much information to our friends in Africa above us, the Anglo-Saxon tradition in America. So without even knowing the names, I was playing those rhythms, if you see what I mean. So that was kind of that's how much I can say about the connection of traditional drumming and African drumming there in Portugal. Yeah.
Wow, such a fusion. So wonderful when it all kind of makes sense and comes together like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Yeah, my mother would always listen to 𝗟𝗣 𝗦𝗧𝗢𝗥𝗓 all the time. And I would always have 𝗟𝗣 𝗦𝗧𝗢𝗥𝗓 playing in the background all the time. And just
I like you more even now. If you listen to, because not everyone knows about _𝗟𝗣. Not everyone knows about her. And,
it's good music. Great music. Yeah.
Soulful.
So the cajon, how is the cajon very popular in Portugal, and obviously with Spain being next door, and you could tell us a bit about that.
Of course. So basically, cajon, was like a pandemic, right? In the early 2000s. When the cajon started being popular, it was like, boom, everyone has a cajon. And that was probably around the 2000s, early 2000s. So I got access to one when I was, again, with my youth orchestra. We went to Vigo, north of, of Spain. And I got the cajon there. And the orchestra manager was like, "Why are you buying a box? Why did you give 200 euros for a box?" And I was like, "No, you don't understand this. Just stick with Mozart and Bach. You don't know what you're talking about." So I came back to Lisbon and started exploring flamenco patterns. I learned about the rhythms. I'll go, all the different feels. All that, and start playing for dancers. I forgot to mention that. There's so much to mention, because when you live it intensely your life, you just every day is a new experience. So cajon, that way, flamenco traditional, but then cajon is a Peruvian, we know from the Peruvian tradition, and I'm not going to be the expert here because a lot of other people cover the cajon. But I must say though, when I was studying Ghanaian percussion at the Guildhall School, I did have a cajon originally from Ghana, which was a calf head, natural head. So that's the real origin. Yeah, right there. You sit on a piece of wood with a stretched skin on it, and you just play it. And I did that for my final recital, and I use that as part of my final recital too. So, but cajon for me, and we can probably show. Is there a video? I think we have a video to show later, right?
Yes. We have it here.
Yeah. So basically, cajon for me has been a way in to connect with world music, to singer-songwriters like Judith Owen. So basically, it's having a drum kit attitude, having an attitude that allows you to, be between styles. So it's just not focused, if you want to call me, you probably want something traditional. I can do the traditional. I can come pretty close to what you want, but I have more fun allowing, again, different influences come together when you're playing. But cajon has been, it's been a great thing. And also I love the shaker. For me, if I can say something about this instrument here is just a life-saving instrument to every record there is out there. And I have a little trick I can share with my friends, LP and musicians. You know, we have the yellow and the blue and the red. So you can think, is this the left side, right? This is the left side, correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
Left side, okay, left. So you have that. So pianissimo, you have blue for forte, and then the red for fortissimo. So I create a palette of dynamics. So imagine there is no gaffer tape here. I have just the shaker as it is. Next to it will be one the same, but with gaffer, so, or the other way around. So muffled, less muffled, and then muffled, less muffled. So it opens up. So you have all the, so for chorus and not chorus, I change in a split of a second to another one. And for me, allowing that with the cajon, it's a great way to not distract the music, but yet add that little grit that you just need. So I'm in love with this instrument. It's just so great. And I tell every drummer, I have students, the shaker here. The shaker love it. The shaker love. You can really tell I love the shaker over there.
In the moment, yeah.
It's just, and you know, it's so great. And a lot of people understand this. You close your eyes and you are really bang on with what's happening around you.
Yeah.
It's just so rewarding. And yet you don't have to do, you know, you don't have to add any more notes to it. You know, it just, again, our job is to do what's required in that specific moment. That's the task at hand. Not the task, but that's what we should be always striving to do. Absolutely.
Well said. And that's an interesting hack, you know, using the tape for different tones and different decibel levels.
Please,
wow, that's great.
Use it, guys. You know, happy to share. It's very simple. And then, of course, this is pianissimo. Now this is mezzo piano. And if I add more tape, it's going to be more muffled. So this is a great tape. And I'm trying to incorporate this one too. Sometimes works for triple stuff. That works really well.
That's awesome. See, that's why you're. I noticed your drumming is it's a lot of texture, a lot of layers of texture, and as an acoustic, percussionist, I mean, you have such a good ear for that, and it's wonderful to see you actually mix these things up and putting tape around the shakers as well. You were talking about the singer-songwriter approach to making music it's completely different. But you have that sound, that ear to apply the right type of sound and decibel level and texture to a song. And I noticed that. I was like, oh God, it's so good. Yeah, and you're working with 𝗟𝗩 �𝗧𝗢𝗥𝗍𝗄, another amazing percussionist as well too. Seeing you guys work together to do that Vic Firth video as well, the textures, the back and forth, the conversation rhythmically is wonderful. Yeah. But both of you guys are just experts at that texture and sound effects and musicality. So it's wonderful to see that. Yeah.
Thank you. And again, it's all to do with the celebration of sound. You know, it's not a celebration of patterns.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Patterns just go to a certain extent. You have to go beyond that. It's like, in the end, I was telling someone the other day, all the things we have to deal with, how the feel is. Do, ta, 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 ta. We have two feels, straight, turn, and triple. So embrace those things, and then everything else is color, and you start really, most of the music that will work. Again, it's my love for sound, and Marcelo too, and also the classical school really teaches you how to acknowledge what's on the score and be really exact about the sound. So I think that really comes across when you read music. A lot of when you read different composers, they'll be very specific about the one. So that gives you discipline, because you know me well enough. I'm a person that I look here. Oh, I want to play that instrument, and I want to, because I'm such a kid. When I play, it's just everything is such a joy. But to have a composer, you are okay. This is my this is my playground right here. Nothing beyond the playground. So yeah, but I think we might have a video of that session with Marcelo. I think something we did afterwards, like off the backstage kind of thing. I think especially for you guys. I think especially for you guys. Let's listen.
Here we go.
Thanks, Jerry.
Love it.
Yeah, you gotta have fun.
Oh, you have to, man. That's great. Getting every tone from that instrument. And I remember when we were at NAMM, you're playing the that same 6-zone cajon box kit, and people were you were just getting all the textures, everything out of it. And I was just like, man, that's wonderful. Everybody was like, whoa, this is really cool. I mean, unplanned demonstration of the 6-zone box kit. But it was so good. People had really enjoyed it. They really loved every part of the drum that you were using with the brushes and the low boy hi-hat as well too on there.
Yes.
But, good stuff. Wonderful stuff though. Yeah. And so with what you're doing now with Judith, you're applying the cajon. You're doing the cajon hybrid setup right now. Maybe you could tell us a little bit what you're playing with Judith at the moment.
Yeah. So as you know, with her is less. Of course, less is more, but less is less. And with her, I will always have a mentality of a drummer with a percussion setup, which meaning I'm dealing with low frequencies and high frequencies, and she's right there in the middle. And when we have Leland's claw, of course, I have to have him on my mix as well when I'm composing the parts, because I do have parts for songs. You cannot just fill it out. It's not. Right. It's very much established. Of course, you can express them differently every time, but you have a certain. So if she's here, I have the the low register that come from the low of the cajon, of course the bass drum, as you know, and the snare. And I try to have a very, I'm trying to make it sound as far remote from a cajon all the time. I always don't want to think it's a cajon I'm playing.
Yeah.
I want to think it's actually the action of a drum kit with the pocket. Even though there's no songs like that, it's very much more evolved and moving. So for an example, so a cajon, I have a little snare sometimes, or a little thing in my front. Now I have this. So basically, with the top of the 3-zone, I can create the brush sound here. Or if it's a swing fill, and then shaker for chorus. That thing that I do before, it's a very natural way to bring something in without disrupting the movement. So because if I go, you know, you see, so always find new ways to make the song always the song remains supreme, as always Leland and Russ says.
Wow.
So it's not about you. It's about you serving the situation at hand.
The music.
Yeah, so that's the setup, and the setup varies. I've got a lot of, if you guys go to my Instagram, I have plenty of material there and questions. On the Drumhead magazine also, there's a lot of pictures and content. Reach out on my website too, and you can always check that out. But there's a lot of image information and to know more about my world. And so that's pretty much it. And it does vary, but I know by now, after 7 years, what it's her palette, what works with her. And that's the important thing to do with every artist you work with. If I got a gig, next to, another legend percussionist from LP, I would have to play differently and have a different setup, you know what I mean? So again, be as well informed, so when the call comes, you just know what to bring. Wow. And sometimes it's not about more, it's about having less and do more with less. And so much more, I when I get excited and I bring all my setup in, I just get lost on the gig. Oh God, I haven't played that yet, you know what I mean? Yeah. When I really break it down, great. But sometimes you want to really bring the old kit too. Sometimes, I want to actually use every little bit of a kit because I know the music for that reason. So it's that nothing is set on stone, anything in life, really. So you just have to play along with it and see where it takes you. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well said. Well said. Well, thank you for sharing your time. And I know you got a very busy schedule. You said you have an upcoming performance at Tipitina's, I think you mentioned as well too. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a live stream with the dearest LP family member. It's Stanton Moore. I love to bits. He's a great guy, and I love him. He's such hardworking. I really admire his tenacity and just generosity and dedication to the craft. Yes, so I'm going to be with him, with Judith. We're going to have 2 sets. So our set, Judith, and then Stanton comes after. And it's going to be good. So tune in, live stream, and also check, I don't want to be boring, but we have to plug our socials. So check in my links to latest music I released as well, because it's been a year of challenges. So I've recorded myself playing as well. So check that out if you can. And stay in touch, I guess. And if anything I can say to finish it up is to just, oh my God, Pedrito Martinez. Okay, this is a very funny story. Pedrito Martinez on the website is before me, which makes total sense. It's Pedrito Martinez and then Pedro Segundo. Man, I cannot game with that guy. My God, he's just the most brilliant musician ever. I love him so much. He's just great. I look forward to spending more time with him. Yeah, look forward to spend more time.
Well, we got to do a hang again one of these days, another LP Rhythm Jam, where we'll bring everybody and film it and have a big musical session for everybody. So, man, it'll be great to have everybody back like that. But man, thank you so much, and once again, thank you. Everything you do, seriously. I mean, I always say that to all the artists. You know, thank you. If it wasn't for you guys, I mean, it works both ways. So put it that way. So thank you very much for everything you do. And
thank you, Jerry.
Very appreciate that very much.
Thank you. And for everyone listening as well, thanks for tuning in. For anyone watching this in 10 years, I hope you are still playing, and I hope we can see in 20 years. I hope we can still meet, because that's the power of these little things. These little testaments that stay, and hopefully we'll help someone along the way feel inspired to make music and play percussion. And because percussion is such a lovely world. But thank you, my love. Oh, Bellamy is here. I love you. Thanks for tuning in too. And Jerry, once again, thanks for everything you do. And to all the fellow LP artists, I appreciate you and your love. And Jules, you work so hard for this as well. So I appreciate all the best. I wish I could invite you in, but I think she's going to stay backstage. She looks beautiful, by the way, today. So, you cannot see that, but she's everyone is beautiful.
If it wasn't for Jules, man, I don't know, we would be in a lot of trouble. Forget about it.
And actually, Jules is so important on this because she got me into getting it to Excel again. I never used Excel in 10 years. And I was like, oh, how did you do this again?
Hey, you said, it's a learning curve. We're learning all this as we're going.
Yeah. So thank you again, guys. It's such a joy to speak to you and share a little bit of my life with you guys. Okay, stay positive, stay safe. I can't wait to give you a hug. Absolutely. And stay positive. Okay.
And everybody watching, please stay safe as well. And hope we get to see Pedro live in your area. So thank you again, Pedro. Un abrazo.
Un abrazo. Ciao, ciao, Jules. Ciao, guys.